Hey guys, so I took a little bit of time this morning to catch up kind of a little bit further on what seems to be the growing sentiment amongst the black community via my social media accounts. And what I took notice of was a bunch of what appeared to me to be, in a lot of cases, by a couple different groups of people. I would call them extremes. And I'm not saying that those extremes are or are not accurate. I just noticed that there were a few different extremes that were being taken by people. And I read multiple accounts of black individuals that were explaining racism that they grew up with. And it was at their school, and it was at their jobs, and it was on the streets. Some of them even described the racism that happened in relationships they had with people. And if their accounts were accurate, which I'm absolutely sure that some of them were, I was extremely brokenhearted and sad to read what I read. Well, then I read of some others who stated that they had never experienced racism at all as a black person. In their communities where they grew up, race has just never been a factor, and all people in their minds have been treated quite equally. And if their accounts are accurate, then it's something that really brings a great deal of hope to a community right now that needs it. But one black lady went on to say that for her, the most frustrating thing was when she disagreed about the nature of racism being as extreme as some are saying that it is. She said these words. She said, and I quote, "It doesn't matter who you are or what you say. If you don't agree with them, you're wrong." End quote. I don't think a statement like that really shocks anybody. Though none of us ever want to hear or think that we would exaggerate things in order to further our feelings or our sentiments. But all people are really prone to doing just that, no matter what the issue is. Whether the issue is a huge one like racism is, or a smaller one that might even happen in your home, we're all really kind of prone towards gravitating towards using thoughts or videos or language that makes our sentiments seem more correct than others. And this especially occurs, I think, when emotions are attached to the issue at hand. There's nothing wrong really with being emotional about something, but there is something wrong with wanting your point to be understood and your point to be believed so much that you only push the things that fit into your agenda while ignoring other realities that are out there at the same time. Well, this behavior like that is certainly fueling the racism that's felt around the country right now. But it also fuels other things like arguments inside of a home between spouses or even between kids and parents. And that doesn't care what race you are or what religion you are or how prosperous you are. As Christians, we must struggle hard not to do that. Though I warn you that the temptation is super, super strong to surround yourself with what you want to hear and with what you want to experience rather than the truth of what is really going on. So how do you combat this natural prone behavior that we all have? Well, we need to give our attention to God's truth over and above the things that we want others to agree with us on. Daniel 9:13, during Daniel's prayer that we've been looking at, his prayer to God, he says this, Daniel 9:13, he says, "Just as it is written in the law of Moses, all of this disaster has come on us, yet we have not sought the favor of the Lord our God, by turning from our sins, and God, by giving attention to your truth. And we get so caught up in everything happening around us and how we view everything that's happening around us that we miss what God is standing up for and what God is saying. We actually end up avoiding his truth, all the while filling ourselves with the information that matches our personal agendas. And we do that. We all are prone to do that. And here's a thought. We might agree or disagree with whether or not kneeling during the Star-Spangled Banner is an appropriate way to protest something or not. And I think that we all have the right to express our personal feelings about that one way or another. But as Christians, we need to make sure that our sentiments over that don't trump what's really the most important truths of God. Because when we reject God's truths, we are guaranteed to reject all other things that are important. And when we do that, we're going to set ourselves up for those who are clearly wrong and clearly evil to come in and destroy our streets and to loot from our stores. Focus diligently on God's truths and what's important to him. Let all other things take a second seat to that. Even important things take a second seat to that. And whatever you do, don't get caught up in the trap of exaggerating things for the sake of furthering what you want people to see. Just stick with what God says is right and what God says is wrong. Those are truths. And don't waver from that, not even a little bit, no matter what the social pressures on you are. Boy, I hope that made sense. We'll see you soon.